Hey everyone, Christian here with a new vlog. I know it's been a while, and lovely for you guys. The World Series of Poker is almost over, about another 5 days or so. But I found a palm I've been wanting to do a vlog for quite some time. In fact, it was requested by a viewer of the vlog, and this is Carpentaria acuminata, better just known as the Carpentaria palm. So you can see this is quite a tall palm we have here at the shopping center. This is the kind of the side area there. Doesn't appear to be any buildings, but you can zoom over here. Well, not zoom, but swing over here. You can see there's plenty of shops over here. This is a little bit abandoned, so things look a little neglected over here. But this palm's actually looking pretty good. You can see it has kind of the look of a foxtail without as plumose leaflets. So if we go over right here, we can see there's a Christmas palm, foxtail grouping, and more foxtail and Christmas, Adenidia and Wodetia for those for the scientific names. And this one kind of looks like almost like a hybrid between a Vicia and a Christmas, because it has that recurved leaflet that Vicias do not have, but it has the longer leaflet, the more a little bit droopier than say Adenidia. And sorry the lighting isn't too good here, but it was the best part of the day. It's not bright and in my face. It's not 92 degrees out. So yeah, so you can see this is a tall, slender palm. It's not thick like a royal. And if we look over here at the royals in the distance, you can see they're quite a bit larger, even though they're further away. And I'll get back to this plant here in a second. So anyways, they're called Carpentarias because they're from the area surrounding the Gulf of Carpentaria, which is in northern Australia. It's in the northern Queensland area near the Cape York Peninsula. That's where they were discovered, and that's where they're from. And they are related to Vicias and related to Adenidias, and they're also related to foxtails. So there are, I have heard people say that these are actually have hybridized before with Vicias, with foxtails. I've never seen one, but I don't know what that would be called, but it's possible. I think some Australians might have done it. They're very genetically similar, and you can see this one is actually putting out it just went through anthesis, which is when the male and female flowers are ready to pollinate. So that should be developing seed on there. It's hard to actually tell because of the lighting, but the seed is about the size of I want to say like a lima bean, maybe a little bit smaller. They're red, like most seeds from the area when they're ripe. Arcanta Phoenix, Vicia, foxtails all kind of have the same color seed. And yeah, they drop pretty easily. In fact, I think I can see flowers. You can see the flowers here on the ground, so it's probably right at anthesis. So I'll check up and see if there's still a seed bract on here a little bit in the future. But it grows in full sun, and it'll enjoy shade as well. It'll grow faster. It's a very fast grower. This palm could be less than 10 years old, and that's what makes it a great plant for many tropical areas. Here in Florida, it does well in most of South Florida. I had some of these in my yard prior to 2010, and elongated temperatures in the 30s they were very unhappy with. And it wasn't that I had a low of 30 something, I had a low of 29, and a whole day where it didn't get above 43 degrees really did them in. They kind of just turned black and mushy and died, along with the Vicias sitting right next to them. So the crown shaft is kind of a palish green to white, and it does have some brown tomentum right at the base of the petioles, if you can see that there. I can't see how well the light is on those, but the seed is small, like I said. It's more, I would say that it is a 10A palm, although I've seen it growing in warmer parts of 9B. There's probably a couple of these in Orlando getting by, maybe a couple in Tampa. I've seen some growing in Venice since, and I've actually seen there's a couple large ones in Sarasota that are still alive that went through the freeze. So I get a little bit closer, but it's there really isn't a whole lot to see that you can't really see in the video. It's kind of splitting there at the base. It's an older plant. Probably was fertilized at one point, and when you over-fertilize a tropical palm trying to get a bigger trunk, it will just start to split at the trunk. So good thing not to over-fertilize. It's another note of something not to do. Although everyone wants to fertilize their palms, and I understand. But when you dump fertilizer on them, you'll get this bulginess. And you can kind of tell when this palm was planted, because you can see right here, there's a little bit of a notch from something got into it, but not something hit it, something sharp. And then right above it, you can see where the rings start to get a little bit more deformed. It gets a little bit skinnier, and that's probably when it was planted, because this was down here. The rings apart are probably about 6 to 8 inches, and that's a sign of like very vigorous growth. And here it's probably when they got here, and they don't, they're not going to fertilize or water as much as a nursery is. So, but it is a very elegant looking plant. It does very well in groupings. It does well solitary. It doesn't take up a whole lot of room, and it is a crown shafted palm, so it does self-clean, which is nice. The flower bracts will also come off pretty easily, so they don't really make too much of a mess. Kind of like a miniature foxtail in a way, or a little bit smaller foxtail. So, but the seed is really easy to germinate. Just throw them all in a pot of relatively decent media, give it a lot of heat, and they'll pop just like anything in that area. It grows, it gets up into the 90s all summer long, and it's a lot like the Florida there. I mean, the Florida there. The climate there is a lot like South Florida, except for it stays warmer in the winter. So, it doesn't really get below 40, 45 degrees there. Yeah, and that's about it for this plant. I'm trying to think of any, it was a more popular plant maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago than it is now, because the foxtail kind of took over a lot of what this plant, but the where this plant was planted. But the foxtail is a bigger, sturdier plant, a little bit more cold hardy, and just kind of has a little bit nicer, fuller look that people were going for. So this plant is kind of diminished in value as far as like in the nursery business. So you don't see it as much. People don't grow it as much, but it's still around. It's not a rare plant. It's not something you're going to see in Home Depot. But it's still quite a nice palm to get if you want fast growing foliage in South Florida, if you live in Hawaii, other tropical climates. I'm not sure how well this will do in, say, southern Spain or the Mediterranean, like frost-free Mediterranean. I believe it'll grow there. They seem to be okay with elongated periods of cool weather. Just the frost will burn the leaves, not entirely, but it'll start getting spotty. Around 29, 28 is when it'll start really getting hurt bad. So hurt badly, I should say. So sorry I haven't been doing more vlogs. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions about Carpentarias or other relatives to Carpentaria, go ahead and leave a comment down below. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you guys soon. Have a nice day.